right? You think of an elephant. Chris Kiske got it wrong recently. That was good when he said, "I am not a bully." And, but when you go out and deny this, you get democratic mistakes. Barack Obama said, "This is not a government takeover." Saying government takeover over again, making people think of government takeovers. Right? And that is a problem that Democrats don't understand how that works. It's important to know the first thing. If you use the other guy's language, even to negate it, you're helping him. If you use their arguments, even to argue against it, and say, "Oh, here is what Glenn Beck said today, A, B, C. Here's his argument, and here are the facts against it. This one goes against this point in his argument. This one goes against that point in his argument." You're repeating all the points of his argument, right? Just watch MSNBC any night. Right? Now, the question is, why do Democrats do this? Why do they get it wrong? And let me go through one more thing about it before I do that. Why was it that President Obama, after getting through the Affordable Care Act, basically allowed the conservatives to knock it down right after he got it through? What happened in 2009? Okay? Now, when Obama got elected, before he became president, I happened to be talking on my cell phone with a friend who was his pollster. And he was taking a poll of possible ideas to go into the Affordable Care Act. And he said, the president wanted, the most popular positions that were worthwhile that he could get. And he got them. Every single position that's in there was approved 60 to 80% and still is. No preconditions. About 80%. You start asking people, should you have preconditions on it? Should someone who's pregnant not be able to get insurance? Oh, hell no. All right, et cetera. So that's one, and so on. Should your child be, when they goes to college, can they stay on your health care plan? 80%. It's still that way. You go down the list of positions, 60 to 80% on every single one. How did the conservatives get the total plan to be less than that, to be under 50%? What did they do? Right, first, what they did not do. No conservative ever argued against those positions. You never heard a conservative go out and say, "Yes, you should have preconditions. No, your kid shouldn't be on your insurance." None of them ever did that. They were too smart. They were told, very astutely by Frank Luntz, to go moral. Moral on two principles. What were they? Freedom and life. It's government takeover of death panels, government takeover of death panels, repeated over and over again. Morality is in one part of the brain. Practical health issues are in a different part of the brain. They went to another part of the brain, and they attacked it there. And they called it Obamacare, making Obama the issue. Now, I don't know, how many of you saw this wonderful Jimmy Kimmel interview? Have you seen that show? There was a marvelous thing where Jimmy Kimmel sent one of his guys out to do a man-in-the-street interview in Los Angeles. Right? And he says, got people, which do you think is better, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act? And one after another, people would say, "I don't know about Obamacare, it sounds really bad. The Affordable Care Act is great." And of course, Obama chose Obamacare on the grounds that it said Obama cares, which it doesn't. Not understanding the linguistics of it. And of course, they had no linguist in the White House at the time. I mean, it's a problem. Well, actually, they did, but she was a student of mine working down the hall on the communications team, and they were never able to get any information back through Rahm Emanuel. But anyway, they did have a linguist who understood all this stuff, fought 50 feet from the president, unable to communicate. That's not great. So the general point is, here you have Barack Obama, one of our greatest speech makers and communicators, not communicating what he needs to communicate. Why is this happening? Why haven't the Democrats set up a communication system that matches the conservatives' ones? They've known about ALEC, since like 2003. They've known about all of this stuff for years and years and years, and they have not acted. Why? Well, there's a very simple reason: they went to college. I'm serious. If you're a conservative and you're going to college, what are you studying? You're probably studying some business, right? In the business curriculum, there's a course called marketing. Okay? What do marketing professors study? Cognitive science. They study how people think in terms of frames, metaphors, images, narratives, emotions, and so on. They study how to market their ideas. When progressives go to college, what do they study? Liberal arts, political science, economics, law, public policy. They don't study marketing or cognitive science. They don't study how people really think. Instead, they learn a different theory of reason. A theory of reason that was made up in 1650 by René Descartes. One very important idea in the Enlightenment. In the Enlightenment, the idea got across that we are all rational, that we all are rational animals, and that we therefore, since we can all think, we don't have to let the church or kings or nobles think for us. We can think for ourselves. In 1650, this was a radical, a very important idea. Now, Descartes, being a mathematician, had the following views on what it was. He said, I think, therefore I am, because he said, all thought is conscious. Well, we now know from neuroscience and cognitive science that about 98% of thought is unconscious. Consciousness is like 2%. Why? It has to be that way. Why? Because in your brain, the brain circuits work in parallel. They spread out by the hundreds. Consciousness is linear. You could not consciously follow all your thought. It's impossible. It couldn't be done physically. So, part of your brain is conscious, a very important part. It's very important to be conscious. That's good. But remember, it's 98% unconscious. Secondly, Descartes said reason is logic. It's not. It has to do with frames, metaphors, etc. All of those things. Third, Descartes said emotion gets in the way of reason. And sometimes it does, as you probably know. But what is discovered by Antonio Damasio, one of our greatest neuroscientists, in a book called Descartes' Error, that if you have a brain injury or stroke that keeps you from feeling emotion, you don't know whether you like or don't like anything. And if like and not like mean nothing to you, you cannot set a goal, and you cannot rationally pursue it. You cannot tell if someone else will like or not like what you do, so you act randomly and screw up your life. Right? You must have emotion in order to be rational, in order to reason. You must, to set goals. Language, Descartes said, just fits the world. It's neutral. How do our concepts of language fit the world? He had an answer to this. God wouldn't lie to us. Not a good enough answer. It fits the world because thought goes through the body and through the brain. And you can only understand what your body and brain allow you to understand. So that's a very big deal. In short, people who are most of the Democratic political leaders, most of the Democratic policymakers, staff members, etc., and reporters were trained in that view of reason, and it doesn't work. The conservative strategists were trained in a different view of reason that they've been using successfully. And we have to go beyond that. It's not that it's wrong. There's a thing that follows from Descartes. If you tell people the facts, they'll always reason to the right conclusion because everybody is rational and thinks the right way. So what we should do is just get the facts out there. More facts, more facts, more facts and figures. Facts, facts, facts. Doesn't work. They've been doing this for years. They keep saying, let's get the facts out there. Facts are important, but the moral basis of those facts, the moral meaning of those facts is what is really important. And that's what we're going to get at today. So, let's see, I probably talked long enough, just about, if you have to get to something. And we'll be doing lots more detail as we go through. We're going to talk about unions, we're going to talk about fracking and sand mining and iron mining and education and any issue you want to bring up. Let's go.